What's good is popping YouTube family? We back in a reaction video. We got narratives with Sinbad. The ref cannot stop him. Now if you know Sinbad had the hoes on. Sinbad had the biddies, the women. He was left and right in them. It was too easy for my boy. I would have shot Sinbad if he was talking to my girl. No, real talk though, I would have clapped him. Straight into a coma, madness. I can snap in any moment, I grip the pound. He get the fully round, he don't know who did it. I'm over the body with the hoodie down. Oh man, I love twerk, bro. Twerk is hard. But that's neither here nor there. We finna talk about Sinbad, the god. The original. So with that being said, my boy channel gonna be linked down below. Along there's the video. Make sure you go show some love. Hit the sub button, all that good stuff. And you know we gotta hit the like. And you know we gotta make it full screen too. Let's get right into it.
Now, picture this and try your hardest to imagine this without using me as the example. You ever just have a feeling when you wake up that's like, this is gonna be a wonderful day. Now keep that thought, but this time there was real life a guy out there who had people shaking, looking up into the sky, talking about the world has become a better place. The zeptosecond before, I'm talking the exact point when his head poked out.
Glaze.
Yes. Now, if you are still yet to think of an example, and of course, yeah, you cannot use me in this example, then let me clue you in with the Sinbad. On my quest to cover the best 2010s, I stumbled across the comments talking about Maggie, and I was thinking,
Maggie is great.
I went straight for the Sinbad side story. You see, as a kid, I always wanted to live like Sinbad. Rich, drippy. His name is Sinbad, which is low-key called
facts.
And these niggas even call him first class singularity. Are we serious? I'd much prefer if you all find out why I like him so much. So cut the small talk. Let's go. So the very first thing we show is childbirth. And just peep how the niggas are reacting. Like, shooting stars? Are we dead ass?
The universe literally got bad. Like, it got better.
And check how his hand is climbing the sun. This has got to be some sort of symbolism. Where the anime TikTok elitists when you need them. This is Sinbad's dad, who's some sort of, war hero. But nowadays, he's on his Thor shit. The I have no enemies, saying he doesn't believe in war. Now, he just bides his time fishing in the sea. And Sinbad had snuck on his boat. A storm ends up catching the both of them, and this literal embryo is instructing his grown-ass man father on which direction to go to escape the storm. And this nigga has no directions. This is how I know I'm not ready to be a dad. My kid
he's already Jesus,
but there's no way I'm letting him one-up me. That's black man pride. After the little mission, Sinbad's dad is getting boomed on by the civilians because he's not participating in the war. And these guys are talking about how he's a failure of a hero. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't this nigga literally have one leg?
Yeah, he has one leg. What do y'all want him to do?
Anyway, Sinbad's pops just takes it because, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, some more Thor's BS. They find this traveling merchant and decide to take him in. And Sinbad is curious because he has yellow hair. And Sinbad's never seen people of different lands before. Later, Sinbad's chopping it up with bro while hearing his stories at bedtime. Turns out bro is an enemy soldier and he packs up these two soldiers who were looking for him. Then he takes Sinbad hostage. Sinbad's mom is asking anybody to help, but all the NPCs' chains are fake.
Yeah, some losers.
Like Sinbad's pops pulls up and now it looks like he's about to save the day, but he just gets on his knees and begs over to release Sinbad.
Hey,
not for my kid.
Get up off the knees.
I bet. Anyway, Sinbad's dad murks soldier guy and the stupid residents of the town say that he needs to be punished for housing a spy. So they're going to force him to fight in the war. Anyway, Sinbad is trying to stand 10 toes with the villagers.
I forgot all about they did that.
But Papa Sinbad is not standing for that shit and takes his clothes off, flexing his VVS diamond chain. In other words, his battle scars, showing the people of this village that this war shit is not all sweet. Some months passed. He said, "I do this." Badder, who was Sinbad's dad, I just decided to name him like now for some reason. Anyway, he had died and they had returned the sword. Then we skipped 9 years and Sinbad is leading the people out of another storm. Just peep how he's harnessing the storm to increase his own personal steez. This is next level shit. The very next scene, Sinbad is posted on top of a building, jumps down and fries this group of bandits that were harassing the civilians. And now he's sweet talking the hoods right after. And
immediately start
he's been doing like the whole series. He meets this guy hiding in a barrel named Yunnan and takes him to his village so he has a place to stay. So this whole time the military has been trying to draft Sinbad, but they sort of slimed his dad, so he just didn't rock with them. Because of this, he gets pulled up on by one of the military commanders and they're out here trying to force him. Since Sinbad is a hood hero, one of the jits wants to help, but these guys got no remorse and just kick him smooth.
Boom them, yo.
And we talking talking about MCG time and time again over here, and we see Sinbad's in real effect because he decides to take on the dungeon to escape being drafted, despite the fact that 10,000 people have already died there. The day comes and Sinbad pulls up before declaring he's going to capture the dungeon and change the world. And spoiler alert, this ain't no empty talk, he really did that shit.
He did that, for sure.
And gets ready to clear it. So they get in the dungeon, and the very first thing we hear is wails of death and despair. Them boys real life sounded like Call of Duty zombies.
Yeah, they was in there
in the ravines getting dragged by dragons and
getting
shit.
Boomed.
Is this Hueco Mundo? The army general is getting rocked and Sinbad
getting cooked.
And he introduces himself all condescending, talking about some, let me do it in a way even a commoner understands. Anyway, his actual name is too long for me to type out, learn, or read, so I'm just going to use his nickname. That's
I would have kicked him off the ledge
and decide that they need to work together to defeat it. Anyway, Drakon is unnecessarily opposed to the idea, so he goes off by himself and ends up almost getting rocked. He was shaking in his boots. His reaction made him hate himself, so he asked him about the slime and then and there. But MCG, so Sinbad's speech just gives him plus 10 charisma. Now, Sinbad is on the offensive. He's using the shield.
I like that, the MCG
as a means to attack the dungeon.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I'm not going to act shocked. I've seen stranger shit through the years. He backflips off it and stabs the dragon in its head, turning it into pixie dust. Then he gets the key that allows them to go to the next stage of the dungeon. They manage to go through the rest of the dungeon and reach a room that houses a djinn. Sinbad touches it and the genie comes to life. The genie gets straight to questioning too. Alright, so which one of you foot niggas called on me? Me?
I did.
No, it's me. I got the royal DNA. You cannot be serious, gang. Nigga, I saved you. Slow feet don't eat. Hey, boom, right now. These two start boxing, and Drakon is beating Sinbad in the sword fight, but Sinbad reminds him that this is not a sword fight, and it's in fact a dog fight.
Literally,
Drakon gets a flashback, you know, typical anime stuff. And here I'm thinking he's gonna come back with a bang, because he's talking about some, it's not over yet, but nah, he is holding straight haymakers. Look at this.
Yep.
Mink.
He's just eating his knuckle sandwich.
Look at that uppercut, dog. He is in hell. Who even taught Sinbad to throw like this? They do one last exchange, but yeah. MCG, Sinbad now has the power of this genie, and when he wakes up, he's standing on all of the treasure. Now, these soldiers have the gall to open their damn mouths and say, hand over the treasure and power, well done. This looked like charity, and you know Sinbad
literally, I'm like, I hate y'all.
Just spawns in and teaches Sinbad how to use his powers, and yeah, he just starts raining Chidoris on them niggas. You know,
yep, and I would have did the same thing.
And he finds his mother is sick. When he goes into her room, she thinks he's his father, and tells him how wonderful their son has become before she bites the dust. Princess pulls up on Sinbad's hometown, and she starts attacking him. Her chest plate falls off because main character genes, and he picks her up for stuffing her in a barrel. It's time for our boy to explore the world. And hey, who is he feeling like? Someone telling him he's not Eren. So fast forward,
he was feeling good.
I guess he lost his touch from when he was a baby.
And also,
there are also these two people fighting this kraken in the ocean. They deem it as too big of an issue to handle and want to retreat, but Sinbad has some of the best pull-ups in anime and literally smites it. They
Thunderbolt.
Pull up on the shore, and Sinbad tries to riz, but for the first time in his life, it ain't ever worked. And you can tell he's not used to that either. Check how confused he is. They lead him back to the hometown.
He thought she was weird.
But he shows his chain as a dungeon clearer, so they let him stay, and he's cool. Sinbad is actually spitting game in his sleep, and someone in real life tries to assassinate him, but he accidentally kicks him while asleep. The kid ties Sinbad up, but everybody literally got a lightning demon in his sword, so we can predict what happens next. They're getting deep fried. Sinbad is questioning him,
another thunderbolt,
flexing, killing his parents, and Sinbad slaps the spit out of his mouth. Then his boys pull up and help him escape. Hina leaves before his ceremony and heads to the dungeon alone to prove himself. So Sinbad has to put on the big boy boots and decides he's got to go. And peep his face when he declares that nobody's going to die. Woo! He might be clean. He might be clean. Hina thinks all the butterflies are playing with him, but now they realize just munching his skin. So he jumps in.
They're eating that boy alive.
Hina ends up meeting Drakon and the assassin group from yesterday who are also exploring the dungeon. Then they just little bro Hina and ignore him. But he's not having that type of disrespect and attacks them. I'll just skip the pleasantries. He gets tied up and Sinbad saves him. The kid does the same tied up on Sinbad, but Sinbad is merely rocking the shit out of him. I'm not going to lie. Hina's getting jumped, and when Sinbad tries to help, Drakon sneaks him. Then they both jump into the water to run away. The other group end up in the djinn's room, and the genie...
How can you sneak somebody with a gun and suck?
As someone from the other world, and that person escapes. Sinbad and Hina pull up, and this genie is holding a competition for them to become the king. The objective is to capture this singular cat. Anyway, they're all senselessly chasing, and Sinbad snakes the group by making them work together just to take the cat for himself. He's real shysty for that shit, I ain't gonna lie. I mess
with that though. Let them do the hard work.
A jolly speech about changing the world, and these three begin to turn into demons because of the potion that one sorcerer gave them. I left that out. Probably, my bad. They fully transform.
But it's good though.
Blasting Sinbad. The genie says that if they can destroy its core, they can save their comrades. But it's out there doing bullshit like reattaching his arms. And just spins back. Turns out Drakon's brother is pulling the strings and is trying to murk his own brother because he's been getting too close with the girl he's about to marry.
There's always women or money or land or power.
The demon is crushing Hina, but he has to show out and freeze himself before charging up an attack while Sinbad stalls the demon. Anyway, I
might go back and rewatch Magi for...
Yeah.
I might go back and rewatch Magi.
The kid assassin is resurrecting the demon once more. Sinbad is trying to take the core out of his body, and it transports him to inside the assassin's memory, where they see nothing but a crying little boy. His current self is telling the old version of himself that his life shit is really grimy. And
he didn't even grow up.
This is just like Ken and Heisei on Folk. Sinbad approaches him and consoles him, but Sinbad literally got the power to inspire people and make them follow him. So yeah, he succeeds and is able to draw some of Baal, his genie's powers. Oh yeah, the assassin's name is revealed to be Jafar. So the genie asks him to be the master one more time, and all these guys get straight to glazing and accept him as their leader. This shit ain't even fair. They leave the dungeon, and Hina is given his true name, Hina Hono, before becoming a full-fledged warrior. Then he gets to marry his fine shit, Ruru, and they join Sinbad's
real
crew.
fine.
They arrive in one of the biggest empires as merchants trying to sell their goods, and Sinbad is pulling out all the stops to sell his goods. He ain't even have to do anything either. The ref has lost control of this.
He's just there.
Hold on. The ref is trying to make a last stand. Wait, it's working? The soldiers come out and tell everyone to go home and that they don't have permits to sell things on the street. Yes!
Technical.
The ref has finally took the reins. Then this one guy comes in and he's part of the union and he's able to buy from them and takes their entire stock. The rest of the gang go back to Imchak.
Called a technical foul on that boy.
Hometown to get new stock, and Sinbad stays, in which he ends up having dinner with the guy who bought their stock. I've said stock a lot of times. Yes, he finds out that he sold the goods for a higher price, but Sinbad is trying to befriend him rather than condemn him. The man reveals that he will write Sinbad a letter of recommendation to join the union and tasks him with raising 1,000 gold coins in a month. Then he will complete it. He decides the most optimal way to gain money is not to work, it's to hustle on the streets, and that is a real nigga right there.
Real, he about the bread. Look at him, he about his bread.
Then he sees Harun again, he gives him 1,000 gold coins as he really has faith in Sinbad. Turns out he's actually the king of another huge nation. In other news, Ruru is about to give birth. Sinbad gives another performance in order to raise more funds for his warehouse and shop. So he decides to become a theater kid, and he got a hella motion after his first couple shows. So his next event is moved to the Coliseum. Put on that young boy timing now.
If you don't come to my tour, don't bump me no more.
The gang returns from their trip and Jafar gets to the Coliseum with Hinohono's kid, but ends up losing him. He ventures into the Coliseum and heard him in one of the cages with this big ass monster. Jafar rushes in there to save the child, but the size difference is too great. He gets a flashback and the Jinn of Baal's power suddenly resonates in him and he's able to take out the monster. So Sinbad is finally able to raise the funds and officially becomes able to trade in the Empire. And he came out with Johnny Dang jewels from head to toe.
Man, finally, came out blinging.
Send it to the world. Now they're going to a new country, Sasan, and check Sinbad's new fit.
Look at the fit.
Clean, no bullshit. He is clean. They pull up to the Sasan Empire and they basically say hell nah, there's no trade here because they think their goods are a direct gift of God. Sinbad asks what if we're just trying to be friends, and he redirects him to the Knights of Sasan. Sinbad is at the main entrance trying to join the Knights, but they're straight airing him. Yeah, he never had this type of experience before. Normally by now, I'd expect them to get down on their knees and get straight to the slurping.
Started doing tricks on it,
and they encounter the Night King's son, who wants to hear stories of the outside world, which is segregated off from them. And Sinbad is back on that BS, telling the waiter who's responsible for the bar that it's okay for him to hear the stories. I'm getting sick of this phony ass ref, man. He's not doing anything. So Sinbad shares the story and gives him his book too. And this motivates Mistros to see for himself. The next day, he sees his father and his little brother and shouts out how he won't tolerate being forced to be a knight. And his punk-ass snitch brother just standing there after watching Mistros get bitched for disobeying. Mistros begs Sinbad to take him with him, and his little brother walks in on them. Then Mistros tells him to tell his pops that he's officially leaving the Knights. Yunon spawns in, and nobody's dead as just an NPC who just loads in and gives Sinbad side quests. Anyway, he informs Sinbad that there's someone else here.
You know, that's a good idea. It's a good point. He really is.
Mistros is fighting for his freedom, and he finally gets to face his father in a duel, in which he ends up getting dropped like a sack of shit. It's in their culture for fights to be to the death, so he's about to slime his kid, but Sinbad steps in. Sinbad asks him to run the ones, and they begin their fight. They're going back and forth on a seemingly evenly match, but unfortunately, Sinbad wasn't even really trying the whole time, and begins harboring Baal's power by transforming himself into him. And yeah, this is straight steez. The Night King cannot hang with that much power. Sinbad
that
uses
was cheating,
the blast to move the Night King away and drops him into some nearby mountains. But the Night King still wants to fight, and Sinbad says, "So you still don't get my chain is way heavier."
He said, "Whoosh!"
Right?
All that goes.
He loads up an attack, and oh my goodness, this nigga just cleared out a mountain range in one attack. He had this in the locker the whole time.
You still want to scrap
this? He basically told him he'd wipe his country off the atlas if he wanted to, but he only wants to set up trade with them. The King of Sasan agrees, and when they return, Sinbad tells the rest of them.
I bet he did agree.
Bullshit. And the King of Sasan declares Sinbad an ally. Later, Mistros is given permission to leave by his father. He told him that he wanted to see the world too. Then they finally leave. Next up is the city that's known for bad bitches and straight ISOs. They arrive and they see two girls flying over them on a bird. They challenge them to try and make it to the top, and they'll reward them by showing them around and showing them a good time.
Showing them a good time.
Jumps on that and tries to test the gangster, but she gets all flustered and leaves. They manage to make it to the city eventually, and all the locals tell them that they stink. And this isn't even really how
Imagine.
I just wanted to remind you that Sinbad is still human. They talk to the queen about establishing trade, and she refuses to hear them out because they are men. And Sinbad tries his riz on the queen, but she ain't fall for it. Then they get stripped.
Oh yeah, I forgot she almost murdered that boy.
And sent down a ravine. What type of escalation is this? Anyway, they all get pushed down except for Hinahono, who fortunately or unfortunately is going to get examined by all the women. They try finding a way out, but they can't find a singular one.
They feeling the big, tall, strong man.
Eating snakes. They were down there living in the valley for so long that
living a great life
into it and lost the drive to even escape. But Mistro still wants to get freaky. He's got the greatest motivation a man has ever had.
He's trying to get cool.
He winds up finding a pile of meat that they eat. Embedded in them are beautiful gems. Later, we see that the big birds the city people use are taking the meat back to the capital for its stones. The next scene is the three of them hopping out of the meat. They hid in there to get transported up, and they wind up in front of all these estrogen-filled men. The queen is in a room inspecting Sinbad's gin, and in the window is none other than Sinbad. And someone has got to tell me, who is this nigga feeling like?
Who is he feeling like for real?
Backdrop, standing in the light.
And
check how he pulls up on her spitting game immediately. Write that down. All of it. Write that down. She uses her own gin, and she actually knows how to manifest it, unlike the Night King. And she's able to cancel out Sinbad's lightning due to her own abilities. Now, this would be an issue if it wasn't Sinbad who just swaps.
Yeah, quite literally.
Sinbad attacks, but the queen's gin controls 3 elements: fire, ice, and lightning, so she manages to cancel its attack again. He manages to block her attack, and then she fires again and does the usual you were just like the rest, bad guy gimmick. And if you know anime, you know what happens next. Yep. He spawns behind her, arms crossed, all smug and shit. She starts loading up another attack, and he just teleports behind her again.
Yeah, just does.
Again. He's straight frying her.
Cooks.
His true ability
just cooks her.
Is stagnating the state of anything it targets. Anyway, he freezes her shit over, and she loses. The next day, she agrees to Sinbad's trade deal. Then she explains what the Magi are, who are, basically people chosen by the world and are loved by the system of the world. They leave and see Hinahono, and Sinbad reminds him that he does in fact have a wife. He better not have got up to anything too crazy. The diplomat of the queen joins Sinbad's crew, and the queen...
Look at his face.
And that just about wraps up the early career of who we call first class singularity, Sinbad.
Yep.
And shit, maybe I'll cover his parent show in the future. But for now, it's been Narratives. Like and subscribe. We're very close to 10K. Peace.
Bro. I'd be pissed though, like, they just threw me off the cliff and you over here getting cheeks. If I was a hater, I would have clapped. I would have clapped them, boy. Like, no. You're not finna throw me into a ravine where I gotta eat snakes. You getting examined by a village of fine shit. I would have came back, clapped him. He my homeboy. I would have had to clap him and bring him back to life. But yeah, Sinbad literally was just God's favorite. Quite literally, he was just God's favorite. He was just God's favorite. The refs didn't want to step in. I don't know what was going on with the refs. They stepped in one time, gave him a tag, and it didn't even matter. Adam Silver overturned it. But with that being said, my boy channel gonna be linked down below. On the original video, make sure you go show us some love, hit the sub button, all the good stuff. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. I don't know how to grab that real quick.